Good evening, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV. We are here to bring you a live update on the Charlie Kirk assassination and the investigation into it. There is some new reporting that has come out today. One report that came out just a few minutes ago, I believe, about the Charlie Kirk shooting suspect. So we want to get you caught up on that reporting, and we're going to be taking some of your comments and questions on the air. But there was a news story that just came out a few minutes ago, and some other reporting that has come out today. So we're going to get you the latest details. So, hang on one moment. Thank you to our moderators, by the way. You can see here, Reuters says accused sniper jailed in Charlie Kirk killing awaits formal charges in Utah. There's some new reporting about him. We have, I want to thank our moderators for being here. We have Ruth Krafasi, Roberts Mayqueen, Mike J, all over there on YouTube. Thank you for moderating. We have moderating right now. Also, thank you to Jean-Paul Lachance. Thank you so much, Jean-Paul, for the membership. Jean-Paul Lachance. Thank you, LB Prairie Dawn and Matthew Kohai 3 for moderating on Twitch. Oops, I'm hearing two of myself. So hang on one moment. On Twitch. Shannon Davis Hughes, Margaret Riley are moderating over there on Facebook. Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha on X. Oops, that's right. By the way, I'll keep an eye on this. LSU says that their officers are investigating a report of shots fired near the law center. Again, LSU University says officers are investigating a report of shots fired near the law center. So I'll let you know if I hear more. Okay, so I want to get you, let's talk about some of this reporting. There are several outlets now reporting a story about the Charlie Kirk shooting suspect, including Fox News and Axios. Fox News and Axios and the New York Post are all reporting that sources tell them that, I'm going to pull it up here and just confirm that they're all still reporting this, but I have not heard that anything changed. Yes. Axios has it posted. Fox News, I'm sure, still has it posted. Okay, yeah. So Axios, Fox News, the New York Post, all reporting that the Charlie Kirk shooting suspect's roommate, I'm not saying this right. Axios, Fox News, and the New York Post are all reporting that the Charlie Kirk shooting suspect had a romantic relationship with his roommate, and that his roommate is transgender, or what is transgender? Well, I guess was, because I don't think they're living together at the moment, but is transgender, I guess the way you'd say it, because I'm going to still, it's current roommate, even though the suspect is in jail right now. So These reports also say that the roommate has been very cooperative with authorities. And I've seen no report suggesting that the roommate is any kind of legal trouble. So we're going to talk about that a bit. And then there's a news story came out. I just saw it right before we came on the air. There's a news story from the New York Times that reports that the shooting suspect was joking about it the day after the shooting on Discord. The New York Times says that Tyler Robinson, the suspect, was in a Discord group chat the day after the shooting, and someone mentioned that he looked like the shooter, and people started joking about it, and he started joking about it. And for example, two of the things he said in this Discord chat, this would have been yesterday, right? Or would have been maybe Thursday? Thursday, maybe. The day after the shooting, because shooting was Wednesday. Yes, on Thursday. Two of the things that, according to the New York Times, that Tyler Robinson posted in this Discord group chat on Thursday, one he said was that he joked that his doppelganger, someone who looks just like him, was trying to get him in trouble. And also, another joke he said on Discord on Thursday, according to the New York Times, is he said, what is it here? Better also get rid of this manifesto and exact copy rifle I have lying around. So again, the New York Times has a new story. I have posted the link to the story on my X account. And that link is a gift link posted by the author of the story, Nicholas Bogle Burroughs. He posted a gift link, a non-paywalled link to the story. Actually, he posted it. So I'll post the link in the chat. I'm going to post the link in the chat for you. This is a link that was posted by the author of the story. So we'll talk about this as well. But again, the New York Times is reporting, they're reporting that he was in a group chat joking about the whole thing the next day. Okay, so let's start by talking about the reporting that has been coming out today. The first story I talked about. And I'll tell you what these outlets are saying. My X account, I've been posting the links to this stuff on my X account all day. My X account is @Lookner on X. I guess what I should do is I should say, for links to stories, see Steve's X account. Then I'll pin that. So you can go and you can read the whole story for yourself. I am @Lookner on X. All right, so I'm posting this right now. Maybe on Facebook they can post it. That would be, thanks Facebook mods, and I'll post it on Twitch too. Oops, I pinned the wrong one. How do I unpin this one? Hold on, I pinned the wrong post. Thank you, CC. I'm sorry I pinned your post. Let me pin my post. There you go, that's better. All right, so what happened today is Fox News Digital was the first one who reported today this story that that Tyler Robinson, they said, Fox News Digital, his roommate was transgender and that he had a relationship with his roommate. That was first from Fox News Digital. Then I saw the New York Post posted it. Then Fox News posted it. It's now the lead story on the Fox News website. And then Axios posted it. Now, Axios is certainly not a right-wing leaning publication. Okay, just so you know. But if you go to foxnews.com, you could just see it's on the page. It's at the top of the page. But Axios says 6 sources. Axios says 6 sources familiar with the investigation told Axios that investigators believe that Tyler Robinson had a romantic relationship with his roommate. Also, Axios reports that they report, like Fox News and the New York Times, that the roommate was transgender. And they report that that their sources say that investigators initially did not want this publicized because the person is being very cooperative. The roommate is being very cooperative. Fox News had something similar where they said, Fox News, their reporting was that the roommate was being extremely cooperative, and Fox News said that the roommate had no idea that Tyler Robinson was planning this thing. So none of the reporting I've seen today accuses the roommate of being involved. Now you might say, well, why are you talking about this? What importance of this? Well, I think it's obvious why it might be relevant. Because investigators are looking for a motive. So it's possible that who this person was living with, if that's true, and who they were dating, if that's true, could have something to do with the motive. Literally, the headline on Axios, I'm going to read you the Axios headline. Mind you, Axios is not a right-wing publication. Literally, the headline on Axios is, Kirk suspects transgender roommate aghast may be key to motive. Now, some people, like Lena Lopez, says, why did Reuters report he lived with his family? I saw different reports about this. One report yesterday I saw, I think it was in the Post, I'll have to check, said that authorities had been checking his family's house and his apartment. So one report I saw yesterday said he had an apartment separate from his family. I agree there was some reporting yesterday that said he lived with his family, but there was other reporting that said he didn't. Oh, also, I'm just seeing this right now. The New York Post talked to someone they said was a co-worker, a former co-worker of Tyler Robinson. And in 2023, and the co-worker said that he once bragged that Tyler Robinson once bragged to him about his long-range shooting skills. And according to the Post, the co-worker said that The only time they got Tyler Robinson to really talk with them is when they were talking about guns that day. Anyway, but I understand what you're saying, because some of the reporting yesterday said that Tyler Robinson lived with his family. But I can tell you at least one report, because I'm looking at it yesterday, from the New York Post that said he had an apartment that was different from his childhood home where the family lived. So again, I want to just say this again. None of the reporting I've seen says that the roommate had anything to do with the murder. Indeed, as I just told you, both Axios and Fox News are reporting that the roommate has been extremely cooperative. And I can't verify this stuff, but at a certain point, it carries a lot of weight when several outlets are reporting this, and when Axios, which is not a right-leaning publication, says they have 6 sources familiar with the investigation that tell them Robinson had a romantic relationship with his roommate. TMZ earlier today basically reposted the report from Fox or the New York Post. Now I'll look at it again, but you got to be careful with these reports, because somebody will say something and then you'll read the report and they're basically just quoting somebody else. So it doesn't mean they have their own separate reporting. When I saw TMZ mention this, they had a new video today. I don't have the rights to it. We can talk about that too. Anyways, when I saw them report earlier, they were just basically talking about somebody else's report. Yes, I'm looking at the TMZ report right now. They're basically just quoting the Fox Digital report. Okay, so I want to take some comments from you guys. But again, Fox News, the New York Post, and Axios are all reporting that the Charlie Kirk shooting suspect lived with a transgender person who they were in a relationship with. And if that's true, you could see why authorities might be looking at that when they're trying to figure out a motive. And indeed, the Axios headline says may be key to the motive. All right, let me take some comments from you guys. Let's see. Jesse Simmons says roommate and him set it up. Well, that actually goes totally against all the reporting. As I mentioned, I have not seen any reporting saying that the roommate was involved. According to Axios, the roommate was aghast, had no idea, and has been extremely cooperative. According to Fox News, the roommate... Fox News says an FBI official told them the roommate had been extremely cooperative and had no idea Robinson had been planning to do this. By the way, I should mention Fox News in their story about it, which you can see if you go to the Fox News website, because it's literally the top story on the website. They say they are getting their information from senior level FBI officials. That's what Fox News says is the source of their information, senior level FBI officials. Carson Chris says, why didn't the roommate turn him in when the photos came out? So, you know, I certainly understand that question. We're not clear. We don't have a clear timeline. The authorities have not provided that of exactly how it came about that he turned himself in and exactly when they looked at messages that the roommate showed them. So I don't have a timeline of all that. I certainly understand the question, like, did the roommate... now again, as I mentioned, the reporting I've seen says that the roommate had no idea this was going to happen. So I don't know that the roommate didn't report it. You know, remember the story that's been out there. The pictures were released. The pictures were released Thursday night, and then shortly after that, from what I have seen, shortly after that, I believe it was his father, according to the reporting, that confronted him with this. But also, I don't know exactly how it went down with the family, but certainly it's been reported that he spoke to his father and either confessed or implied. But we don't that he did it. But we don't have all the details on that. There has not been given a detailed timeline of all that. So first of all, I don't know how long after. I don't know if the roommate had seen the photos before he turned himself in, and if he did he talk to the police? But also, remember the roommate reportedly also that we heard in the press conference yesterday that the roommate had gotten messages from Tyler, messages saying things like, "I left a gun here. The gun needs to be picked up." So you might say, did he tell that? Did he tell that stuff to authorities? Now, according to the according to Axios, the roommate said to authorities, "That's what happened? Oh my God, no. Here are all the messages." So that kind of makes it sound like soon after the shooting, the authorities found the roommate and talked to the roommate, and the roommate didn't even know the murder had happened. So again, we do not have a good timeline of when did the roommate get the text messages, get the messages from Tyler, when did the authorities talk to the roommate about it? Maybe the roommate hadn't even had the messages for that long, and then the authorities came in. They might have gotten to the roommate pretty fast. But certainly, I mean, you'd want to know, right? I'm sure investigators are looking at anyone who might have had knowledge about this. During the press conference, the governor said there's no information that would lead them to arrest anyone else at that point. I mean, that could change, but that's what the governor said. I mean, you'd think that the roommate probably got the messages pretty soon after the shooting, but I can't confirm that. So we'll have to see what authorities say about that. By the way, a couple quick thank yous. I need to thank some people. Hold on a second here. I'm sorry. thanks so much to Marty Hagwood. Thank you, Marty. And thanks, Marty, for shouting out our moderators. I really appreciate that, Marty. Thank you. Also, BP. Thank you, BP. Yeah, please, no calls for violence in the chat. That violates the chat rules, and the moderators are there. Thank you, Waltham, for the memberships, and Coco Rare Coins and Currency, and Kimo Sabi. Kimo Sabi says, if I was complicit, I would play the ignorance card too. All I can say, there are some people in the chat who are insisting that the roommate was involved. I'll just say it again. None of the reporting I've seen, including the reporting from Fox News, says the roommate was involved. All of the reports I've seen that say that that Tyler Robinson was in a relationship with his transgender roommate, all of those reports I've seen say the roommate has been extremely cooperative, and none of them say that the roommate knew anything about this before it happened. And the governor of Utah said during the press conference yesterday that there was no information that he had that would lead them at that time to arrest anyone else. I'll be checking during the broadcast to see if other reports come out tonight. As I mentioned, there was a new report that just came out tonight about the suspect talking on Discord the day after the shooting. We should talk about that for a second. I'm sorry, I stopped. I owe a couple more people thank yous. Thank you to Morrigan Wolf on Twitch and Cadden's Gaming Lounge on Twitch, and also Cartoon Maps, CJ Lars 1399, Roger, Jay, Kimo Sabi, Bass 300. Jay mentions that, hang on a moment here. Jay mentions that Erica Kirk posted on Instagram. I guess it was it today, the post? I've seen reposts of the post. I haven't seen the actual post. Well, I haven't. I was looking on her Instagram page. But she posted on Instagram her next to Charlie Kirk's casket. One of our viewers mentioned that. I can't show those images on the air. Hang on. Oh, I see it right now. Yeah. So, if you want to see it, I cannot show that. She posted the most recent post on Erica Kirk's Instagram, which is Mrs. MRS Erica Kirk, ErikaKirk, is several photos and videos, a number of which show her at the casket. And you can actually see like Charlie Kirk's hands. So, I mean, it's a bit graphic. I can't show that, but you can go look at it there if you want to. Lisa says it's sad she's sobbing over his casket. So that happened too. Again, I can't show that, but you can go look at it on Instagram. Oh, I do want to mention also that there's this, there is a memorial service coming up. You can see Turning Point USA said, join us in celebrating the remarkable life and enduring legacy of Charlie Kirk, an American legend, the morning of Sunday, September 21st at State Farm Stadium, home of the Arizona Cardinals football team in Glendale, Arizona. That is September 21st. I've seen some speculation that maybe the president and the vice president and others might go. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I'm sure it'll be a big event. We very well might cover that here if I have video that I can show. But if you haven't heard, that's happening a week from tomorrow. President Trump might speak there for all you know. I don't know. But we'll see what happens. All right, we're going to take more of your comments. I'm going to talk about these reports some more about coming out about the suspect. One we haven't even talked about it yet much is the new New York Times report about the suspect joking about the shooting on Discord the day after the shooting. I'm going to post a link in the chat, which is a link to the story that was posted by the author of the story, Nicholas Bogle-Burrows. The basic idea of the report by the New York Times is that on Thursday, the day after the shooting, the suspect, Tyler Robinson, was in a Discord group chat. And one of the people in the group chat saw these photos that had come out, the initial surveillance photos of the suspect, and they asked him where he was at. Now, maybe this person was joking with him. And then Tyler Robinson joked in response that his doppelganger was trying to get him in trouble. And then people in this group, I guess the people in the group chat, it seems like, didn't think it was him. So they were joking about it. So the New York Times says somebody else in the chat joked, Tyler killed Charlie. You know, I don't think they really think he did it. So he was on Discord joking about it with people in a group chat who were joking about him like looking like the surveillance photos. Also, a couple of the other jokes that the New York Times reported he said in this group chat were that somebody in the group chat joked that the group chat could turn him in and get the reward, and then Tyler Robinson joked, only if I get a cut. And then someone in the group chat joked that he shouldn't go to McDonald's because that's where Luigi Mangione was arrested. And Tyler Robinson responded, joking, better also get rid of this manifesto and exact copy rifle I have lying around. And there's other parts of the chat the New York Times talks about in this article. But it's just interesting that, according to their reporting, he was doing this on Thursday. Again, I'll post the link to the article in the chat. Go read it yourself. It's a non-paywalled link from the person who wrote the article. Yeah, as one of our viewers said, Chris D, in the article, it said that after he was arrested, people in the group chat like were stunned by it. That's what the article suggests. So no one is. The article doesn't say that people in the group chat knew he did it. They were joking about the idea that he did it. And he was joking along with them. It's also interesting, this idea, because when he's, remember, it turned out he was still in Utah, but no one knew where he was, right? And people were wondering, is he like trying to leave the country? Is he driving across the country? Is he out of state? Is he on a train? Is he on a plane? Well, at least for some of Thursday, he was in a Discord group chat joking about it. By the way, the New York Times said they got those Discord messages from somebody who's in the group chat and went to high school with Tyler Robinson. Was he with his roommate when he made those comments? I don't know where he was before he got... We have not gotten a timeline of that. We have not gotten a timeline of where he was after the shooting, before he turned himself in. Chappie thinks he did a horrible job of hiding his identity. I mean, it doesn't seem like he had some huge plan to, like, leave the country or something like that. And if you're talking about his, what he wore, I mean, certainly we've seen a number of surveillance photos where, yeah, he had glasses on and a hat, but there was a bunch about his face you could see. Well, the TMZ posted a new video of him today. I can't show that. I don't have the rights to it, but I'll post a link to it. There's a new video posted by TMZ today, which is apparently him walking to the campus hours before the shooting. And at that point, he still has his shorts on. I'll post a link to this. Because we had seen video of him walking to campus with his jeans on. But this is hours before, and he has his shorts on. Yeah, I believe the police said he had shorts on and then changed. I believe that was said in the press conference. Or the governor said it or whatever. Cynthia Sweesey, our viewer, thinks he did more pre-planning than planning the aftermath. I don't know if there was much of a plan. I mean, I don't look. I obviously don't know. Is this something he had planned? You know, is this something he had planned months and months for and definitely knew he was going to do it? Or is it something he like thought about doing and then just woke up and just said, okay, I'll do it? Like, I have no idea. And again, we have not heard much detail about all this. One of our viewers thinks the shorts in the TMZ video is the same shorts he had when arrested. I'm not sure about that. Jenny Ann says to go on social media after is crazy. Is this his first time killing, says Callie Voltaire? Everything I've heard so far says that he did not have a criminal record. I have not heard otherwise. Rian1 says, bet the whole group knew it. The chat group on Discord. Look, I will say, first of all, we don't know who sent tips in, right? I don't know that we'll ever know who sent tips in. Maybe 5 people in the chat group filled out the FBI tip line and said, hey, I don't think he did it, but this kind of looks like this person I know. We don't know who did that. We have no idea. But I could also imagine people who knew him being like, oh, that's odd. That kind of looks like that guy. And just think it's just not him. Because they might, if there's somebody you know who you think, you don't even think they would, there's a chance at all they would do something like this, then you might just think, oh, it's some guy that sort of looks like this person I know. Thanks again to our moderators who are here. Ruth Krafasi is here. Roberts May Queen. Thank you. Hold on a second here. And our other YouTube mods. Give me a quick second. Also on Twitch, David Green and LB Prairie Dawn on Twitch. Margaret Riley on Facebook. Thanks for moderating over there. Shannon Davis Hughes, Linda Bell, Larry, and Misha on X. Also, thank you to Bonnie Goodwin for your support. And hold on a moment. Jiggle Jess, Tonya Bologna. Tonya Bologna thinks it's always the ones you least expect. Chappie, Spoonie McCheese Marshmallow. Thank you. I am Charlie, Lori Shortlegs. D-Row. Analyze Records, Razor Sharp. Razor Sharp is wondering if... So Razor Sharp thinks he climbed off the roof with the gun disassembled in the backpack and assembled the gun in the woods. I don't know if that's the case. Some people think that when he was jumping down from the roof, he had the gun under a towel and was holding the gun not disassembled. I mean, he would have had to disassemble that gun extremely fast because from the video, what the video appears to show, and what I've seen reported, is that he left right after, ran off right after the shooting. So I don't know that he disassembled the gun. He got out of there pretty fast. Anyways, maybe we can look at the video later. I mean, that video, we can look at the video later, but the video that supposedly shows a person running away on the roof, taken from the perspective of somebody who was watching Charlie Kirk speak, he's literally running across the roof, if that video is legit, as people are ducking down. So it's basically like he is. If that video was legit, the person basically just took off as soon as they fired. So they could not have spent any great length of time disassembling the gun. But maybe it's something he could do by pulling it out or something. I don't know. Thanks also to I think I thanked everybody. All right. So let's, thanks to Gemini Rose. So I want to again talk about, I think it's important, if you've been following this story, and there's 3 different reports now on this. And they're not all from right-leaning news outlets. So I want to talk about this again. So let me mention this again. The New York Times, Fox News, the New York Post, and Axios are all reporting that Tyler Robinson lived with a transgender person who he was in a relationship with, a romantic relationship with. Again, Axios, Fox News, New York Post are all reporting this, that he lived with a roommate who he was in a romantic relationship with, and the roommate was transgender. If you're not familiar with Axios, it's a well-known news outlet. It is not right-leaning. They are not known for being super pro-Trump. And they're not known for just coming out with wild accusations. All of those stories, all of those outlets report that the roommate has been very cooperative with authorities. None of them report that the roommate had anything to do with the shooting, in the sense of planning it or something. But there is this question of, could that have played a factor in the motive? Indeed, Axios reports that authorities are investigating whether Charlie Kirk's views on gender identity, whether Tyler Robinson, thought that Charlie Kirk's views on gender identity were offensive to people like his roommate. So there's this question of, if it's true that he had a transgender roommate who he's in a relationship with, did that impact how he thought about Charlie Kirk, and did it all play a role in his motive? It's interesting. Fox News also said that the FBI, Fox said they talked to FBI people. Fox says the FBI has not only text messages, but other communications between Robinson and his roommate/partner that helped them to zero in on Robinson. Also, officials told Fox News that the FBI took evidence from their apartment, including computers. So Fox is reporting that the FBI went to the apartment that They say Tyler Robinson shared with his roommate, who he was in a relationship with, and they report the FBI took computers from there. By the way, Fox News now is also, like the New York Post, saying, well, actually, Axios is reporting it too. They're all reporting that they lived in an apartment, that Tyler Robinson lived in an apartment. Fox says that the apartment that Robinson and his partner shared is in the same community in Utah that Robinson's parents live in. Carrie Collins thinks there's no way the roommate didn't know how he felt about Charlie because his family said he was very vocal about it to everyone. He would argue with people about it, they said. Well, to be clear, I don't recall the authorities saying he was very vocal about it to everyone. The exact wording, I'd have to go and check what the exact wording was of what they said. They did say it was implied that he had spoken about it in that he had become more political recently. But anyways, to address the point though, it's possible that the roommate knew. Look, if I would have to imagine if it is true that Tyler Robinson was in a romantic relationship with his roommate, that his roommate knew how he felt about Charlie Kirk, that would not be a surprise. I'd be more surprised if the roommate didn't know. But if the roommate knowing that Tyler Robinson had a negative opinion of Charlie Kirk does not mean that the roommate knew that Tyler Robinson was planning to assassinate Charlie Kirk. Those are two different things. Yeah, I believe what the authorities said is something like a family member had told them that there was a recent dinner and then it sounded like they were implying that Tyler said he didn't like Charlie Kirk at the dinner, but I don't think it was even totally clear that they were talking about Tyler saying this at the time. I'd have to go back and check the exact wording in the press conference. But my point is, I don't recall the press conference saying that Tyler ran around all the time bad-mouthing Charlie Kirk openly. A quick update about LSU. LSU says LSU PD is still investigating the report of shots fired near the Law Center. There is no current threat to campus. That is an update from LSU, Louisiana State University. I'm not going to post it. The New York Post identifies by name and has pictures of the reported roommate of Tyler Robinson, who the New York Post, Axios, and Fox News all say they were in a relationship together. the New York Post says that public records show that the person of that name resided at the same address as Robinson. And they said the New York Post said they talked to a relative of the roommate who confirmed that they were roommates. Oh, here's another thing I wanted to say. Something else that we've talked about, but I think it's worth bringing up again in light of this reporting today by multiple outlets that claims that Tyler Robinson was in a relationship with his transgender roommate, is remember when the shooting happened, the line of a questioner was questioning Charlie Kirk. There was a questioner asking questions of Charlie Kirk, and the topic was transgender shooters, right? And basically it sounded like what was happening is that the questioner thought that Charlie Kirk was overplaying how much you actually have cases of transgender mass shooters. So, but that was the topic at the time, which raises the question, was the shooter, assuming it's Tyler Robinson, which it sounds like there's very good evidence for, but anyways, he's officially the suspect right now, was the shooter listening in to the conversation? Was the actual shot timed because the conversation was talking about transgender people? And here's another question, call me crazy. If the shooter was listening to the conversation, and if the shooter chose to shoot at that particular time because the topic was transgender people, was the shooter even 100% sure that they would actually fire a shot? Or did they go up there and say, I'm going to listen to this? And then did they hear this thing and that was the final straw that made them do it? I don't know. But if it's true, as these multiple reports say, that the shooter had a transgender roommate who he was dating, I certainly think that raises the question of whether the shot was timed because they were talking about transgender people. Charlie Kirk was talking about transgender people at the time he was shot. So I'm sure law enforcement's looking into it. I don't know if he could hear it at that distance, but I mean, from what I understand, I mean, my guess is that it was amplified in some way, and you know, he was speaking from a place with a building behind him in a bowl-shaped area. So I could imagine a world in which he could hear it, or he could have been watching it on his phone or something, but maybe he couldn't hear it. I don't know. James A. said, will the court appearance be streamed? I had seen one post somewhere that said that because it was state proceedings, it would be streamed, but I don't know that. I don't even know how long that court appearance will be. I mean, that initial court appearance might be quite short. Yeah, as one of our viewers said, Mr. Hobbs, it was the second question. There was a back and forth of 2 questions and 2 answers. Then the shooting happened on that topic of transgender shooters. CB McCarty says, who asked the question? Were they involved with the shooter? I have seen no reporting suggesting that the person who asked the question knew the shooter. I read one story about the person who asked the question. There's stories, at least one story out there, that I can't remember everything the story said. But from that story, it did not seem at all like the person had any connection to the shooter. Chris N. said he did a video. I haven't seen it. Ojai member says there is an interview with that guy too. I'll have to look it up and watch it. Stacy says the person who was asking the question was in shock. I read a story with an interview with him. I mean, there's a bunch of stories out there. The Wall Street Journal had a little thing about him and said what happened to him was a tragedy. I guess his name was Hunter Kozak. Student Hunter Kozak is the last person who was questioning Charlie Kirk when the shot happened. Obsessively Gaming said Channel 5 News on YouTube did an interview with him. Hold on, I want to show you something in a second. Hold on. Hold on a second. Yeah, he had the shooter had no known criminal history. The shooting suspect, you can see right here. Man arrested had no known criminal history. He had mentioned Kirk's upcoming visit to Utah Valley University at a recent dinner, kicking off a conversation about how he didn't like Kirk's viewpoints, family told authorities. Janice says, will he plead guilty? His family will have to testify against him if he doesn't. Giselle said they said on Fox News his arraignment would be held on Tuesday via Zoom. We may cover that on Tuesday. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. Cindy J says, are we done with press conferences now? You know, my guess is no. I was wondering it. It's kind of weird, like, see, what happens is if you don't release information, it's going to start leaking out, and that's what happened today. We have the New York Times and Fox News and Axios all reporting that Tyler Robinson's roommate was transgender and that Tyler Robinson was in a relationship with his roommate. They're also reporting that the roommate has been extremely cooperative with authorities. But, I mean, the longer they go without commenting on this stuff, the more stuff's going to get thrown around online, including false information. Blue Topaz says the story is getting old already. Yeah, I mean, it's weird because, you know, we don't know so much about the suspect and about the circumstances of this happening. But I feel like these reports are big developments today. Oh, someone also brought this up. What is this? There was a protest in London today where some people mentioned Charlie Kirk. You can see AP says a London march organized by far-right activist Tommy Robinson drew more than 110,000 people and became unruly on Saturday as a small group of his supporters clashed with police officers who were separating them from counter-protesters. This was the Unite the Kingdom rally. The rally drew an estimated crowd of between 110 and 150,000 people, far surpassing expectations, police said. The march was billed as a demonstration in support of free speech, with much of the rhetoric by influencers and several far-right politicians from across Europe aimed largely at the perils of migration, a problem much of the continent was struggling to control. Elon Musk was beamed in by video and condemned the left-leaning UK government and said, what I see happening here is a destruction of Britain, initially a slow erosion, but rapidly increasing erosion of Britain with massive uncontrolled migration. Anyways, I mention this because you can see here, Robinson supporters chanted crude refrains about UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, leader of the centre-left Labour Party, and also shouted messages of support for slain US conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Several speakers at the rally paid tribute to Kirk, who was remembered in a moment of silence. Followed by a bagpiper playing Amazing Grace, one demonstrator held a sign saying, "Freedom of speech is dead, R.I.P. Charlie Kirk." So I wanted to mention that. Some of our chat had been mentioning that. It was not a Charlie Kirk rally per se. It was the Unite the Kingdom rally. But they talked about Charlie Kirk. Oh, I have some more information about the memorial service, which was announced by Turning Point USA today. That's it from their website. You can see. The doors open at 8 a.m. and program is 11 a.m. on Sunday, September 21st. I bet they're going to have a bunch of security there. Also, if the president goes, that would be even certainly a lot of security. But that is a week from Sunday. Trump said, did Trump say today he'd been invited to go? Did he comment about it today? I didn't hear him comment about it today, but maybe he did. Because this just got announced today. Joe Newell says it's open carry, 60,000 security. Is it there? I don't know. I don't know how it works. The NRA says that the NRA says in Arizona, any person 21 years of age or older who is not a prohibited possessor may carry a weapon openly or concealed without the need for a license. But in State Farm Stadium, you cannot bring in, can you? Let's see. Are you allowed to, like, the Cardinals, it's in State Farm Stadium. If people go to an NFL game at State Farm Stadium, are they allowed to have weapons? Maybe they are. No, you cannot. I'm literally looking at the Arizona Cardinals website. And this is the same stadium. And it says you are not allowed to bring in weapons or explosives of any kind to their games. Now, I don't know what the policy is going to be for the Charlie Kirk Memorial. I mean, it would make sense to me if they did not allow it. I would not be surprised. I don't have a confirmation of that. I would think they wouldn't allow it. Anyways, though, I mean, I also don't know if at this memorial service, if there are going to be protesters there, right? I'm sure there'll be plenty of people who show up who are supporters of Charlie Kirk. Will there be protesters who show up at the memorial service to protest what's going on? That I don't know. Chip thinks they're going to have a wide perimeter for that event. Maybe they won't even let you get close unless you have a ticket or something. Alabama fan thinks there will be protesters. John DFW says, strange that the suspect had supposedly become more political but didn't vote in the 2024 election. What I saw is that I saw reports that the suspect hadn't voted in the last two presidential elections. It is an interesting point, though, John. I agree with you. Thank you, John DFW. Also, Snoozin and Corbin, and thanks to Sydney for the memberships. Brandy said, how long was Charlie Kirk speaking for before he was shot? You know, I haven't double checked. I had read that it happened pretty soon after he started speaking. But I don't know for sure. Maybe one of the chat members, I think I had read pretty soon after he started speaking, but maybe one of the chat members watched the whole thing. Well, the start time of the event was noon, and he was shot at 12:20. But that doesn't mean that he spoke for 20 minutes before that. I don't know if it started on time and if they had other speakers. Some of our viewers are saying it was the second questioner. And how long did the first questioner go on for? A number of our viewers are saying like 10 to 15 minutes. I haven't gone back and watched, so. But a number of our viewers saying it was the second person who was debating with him. Dallas 240 says, in the interview with the guy that was debating him when he was shot, he said it was like 12 minutes. The first guy spoke for 10 minutes. Thanks, Brandy. Also, Mill2K11, who says, if Tyler and his roommate were involved, could it be that Tyler did this on his roommate's behalf? Love can make people do crazy things. Could the roommate be implicit by pushing their agenda on Tyler? Well, to be clear, I have heard no reportings that the roommate was, as you say, pushing their agenda on Tyler. But if you mean that the roommate might have influenced Tyler's political views, well, I mean, certainly somebody you live with or are friends with or a relationship with could influence your political views. That in no way means that they are telling you to go shoot somebody. The person, there would not be legal responsibility for the roommate if the roommate didn't, say the roommate didn't like Charlie Kirk and influenced Tyler to not like Charlie Kirk. That doesn't mean the roommate is encouraging him to go kill Charlie Kirk. And again, there's no reporting that the roommate was doing that. The reports I've seen all say the roommate's been very cooperative and all say the roommate was shocked that this happened. Now, I don't know everything for sure, but yeah, there wouldn't be the law is not going to blame the roommate for something that they had no idea was going to happen and didn't encourage him to do or help him do in some sort of way. But I understand what you're saying, Mill2K11, in that, and this is why we've been talking about this story today. I'm not telling you about these reports that came out in Fox News and the New York Post and Axios that are all reporting that Tyler Robinson was in a romantic relationship with his transgender roommate. I'm not talking about it just to talking about it. I don't really care about Tyler Robinson's personal life, his personal private life, just for the sake of it. The reason we're talking about it is it may actually be a very important part of his motive. And indeed, Axios, in their headline about this tonight, says it may be the key to the motive. And they say authorities are investigating whether he was motivated to do this, whether there's a connection between that motivation and the fact, they say, that he was he was in a romantic relationship with his transgender roommate. Axios says authorities are investigating whether Tyler Robinson thought that Charlie Kirk's views on gender identity were hateful to people like his roommate. Thank you, Jules Canada. James Supcase. Yeah, I'm a little confused by the whole Discord thing. I mean, look, as I mentioned, the New York Times is reporting tonight that he was joking, that Tyler Robinson was joking the day after the shooting in a group chat where people in the group chat were joking about him being the shooter. One of them said he looked like the shooter, and he was making jokes in response about it on Discord. It seems to be a pretty solidly sourced story. So did the Discord CEO said something like, did Discord say something like none of the planning was done on Discord or something? I'd have to look up and see exactly what they said. Right, so for example, I'm looking at a USA Today story that said Discord told the USA Today that when the messages that were sent to the roommate by Tyler Robinson, telling him like, hey, there's a gun hidden at this place, that needs to be picked up after the shooting. According to the USA Today, Discord told them that those messages were not sent on Discord. But I don't know that Discord said, like, the person wasn't on Discord, Tyler Robinson. And then yeah, so I have The Hill posted a statement by Discord. And they said, did I actually post it on their social media? But just to be clear what they said. Anyways, The Hill had a statement from Discord where Discord said, we are deeply saddened by this tragedy and extend our condolences to the Kirk family and everyone affected. In the course of our investigation, we identified a Discord account associated with Tyler Robinson, but have found no evidence that the suspect planned this incident or promoted violence on Discord. So they're not saying that he never talked on Discord. They're not saying that he didn't talk about it after on Discord. That statement says they didn't find evidence that he planned it or promoted violence on Discord. Thank you, by the way, to Jellyman, Patriot Sicilian, and Marilyn Gardner. Oh, something else I wanted to mention. Hang on. Something else I wanted to mention is, I was wondering, it seemed weird to me that when the authorities said that Tyler Robinson, after the shooting, messaged messaged a friend of his. Did they even call it, did the authorities even say roommate? Or did authorities, when the authorities did the press conference, did they say that he messaged his roommate, or did they say he just messaged somebody who he knew? I don't even remember what that was. I have to look that up. Hold on. I don't know if I can find it here. I think maybe they said roommate. They might have said roommate. A bunch of our viewers are saying they said roommate. Anyways, it's not that big of a point. My point is this. Forget about that distinction. Assume that they said roommate. When we heard that Tyler Robinson, after the shooting, messaged his roommate and said, like, hey, I left a gun somewhere and that gun needs to be picked up. You know? I believe that's part of what was said. Hold on. Yeah, like, basically I left the gun here and the gun needs to be picked up. I was like, why did he tell his roommate that? Like, why would you tell that to your roommate? So now, obviously, if the roommate was in on it, you'd tell them that. But I don't think that would be part of your plan to message them after. And again, none of the reporting says the roommate was in on it. But I will say, if it is true that, as these several reports are saying, that Tyler Robinson was in a romantic relationship with his roommate, maybe it makes a little more sense that he would message this person after. If it's just some random friend of his, would you message a random friend of yours after, hey, go pick up the gun? So maybe it makes a bit more sense if it's just the person he was, in a romantic relationship with. I was just confused about that. I remember being like, why is he saying to his friend, go pick up the gun? I don't know if those messages will be released, by the way. A couple of our viewers are saying that, like Venom, our viewer Venom says you wouldn't message anyone that unless you wanted to implicate them or they already were. Yeah, I know it is an interesting point that a couple of you have raised, which, as I've said a million times, no reporting says the roommate knew what was happening and knew about this. But if you're Tyler Robinson, if you message your roommate to go pick up the gun, you are providing evidence that the authorities could use to say that the roommate's involved. You're putting your roommate, and several outlets are saying the person you're in a relationship with, at huge legal risk. Yeah, make them an accomplice, Carl Anderson says, which is just, now look, I'm not going to I cannot get into the head of somebody who would do something like this. So I don't know what mental state they were in. But it's just that's another odd thing about doing it, which some of our viewers have pointed out, is you're involving this person. Which is strange. Mark F says the roommate respond. I don't know. We don't have those messages. We don't have those messages. Sambino says, seems like a problematic thing to do to someone you love. It's also possible that at that time he had done this thing and was just, just completely freaked out after doing it and wasn't really thinking about what he was doing. I don't know. Mike Fallon says, wonder if the roommate has a lawyer. Yeah, as one of our viewers said in the New York Post article, today, they said they talked to a family member of the roommate, a relative of the roommate, who said she did not know her relative's politics or whether the relative was transitioning to become a woman. To repeat, I am referring to the 3 different reports, one in the New York Post, one in Fox News, one in Axios, which all are reporting that Tyler Robinson was in a relationship with his transgender roommate. Axios says they have 6 sources familiar with the investigation that said Robinson had a romantic relationship with his roommate. 6 sources told them that, Axios. And they are not a right-wing news outlet. It's also interesting that if this is true, that the authorities did mention it. As I mentioned, Axios said that investigators wanted to keep info about the roommate's gender identity quiet because the person's being extremely cooperative with authorities. I mean, personally, I don't know this. I could see a world where the authorities, the authorities so far don't think anybody else is involved. But I could certainly see a world where the authorities don't want to mention if the roommate is transgender and was in a relationship with Tyler Robinson initially, not just because the roommate's being cooperative, but because they're concerned somebody's going to attack the roommate, They don't want the roommate to be targeted. But as I said, I mean, look, the longer you go with these criminal investigations where there's not public updates from the authorities, stuff gets leaked. And if there's now, look, I'll say today, there's been so this is already happening. There was no press conference today. There was no official update today. And now look what's happening. You have 3 national outlets reporting that Tyler Robinson was in a romantic relationship with his transgender roommate. So now, again, I think the sourcing is quite good on this. I can't guarantee you it's true, but you have 3 different outlets reporting this. But people are going to draw their own conclusions about this stuff. And then they'll come up with other theories. And it's like, at a certain point, you either can confirm this stuff or deny it or just let it sit. But if you let it sit, people are going to come up with all kinds of theories. So, I would think maybe they'll address this at some point. But there's literally not a peep. I've heard no comment at all from authorities today about anything new. Real Sportsman thinks there won't be any more until charges are filed. It's supposed to be. Now, I think charges have not been filed yet, right? I don't think. We had heard maybe federal charges would be filed yesterday, but that hasn't happened. Is the suspect talking? We've gotten a couple of those questions. There's been no update on that. So originally, I believe law enforcement, I don't know if law enforcement said this or it was reported. It was reported he wasn't talking. I saw reports he wasn't talking, but I haven't seen any update today. There's been no official update today about this. No, these three outlets did not copy from each other. These outlets all have their own sources. Now, it could turn out that some sources are the same. I don't know. But they all have their own sources. They did not say, we're reporting this because somebody else did. They have their own sources, each of these outlets. Some of our viewers are recommending an article from Vanity Fair about the messages on the casings, on the ammunition. It's a paywalled article. I haven't read it yet, but I'm passing along that some of our viewers are recommending that. Yeah, people were talking about the charges. Accused sniper awaits formal charges in Utah, says Reuters. See? He faces formal charges next week, according to the governor. Oops. A break in the case came when a relative and a family friend told the local sheriff's office that he had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the murder. Oh, look, Reuters is also reporting that he had an apartment in addition, and he wasn't just living at his family's house. So when I mentioned the reports today that the several reports that he was in a relationship with his transgender roommate, some people were like, but it was reported that he lived with his parents. Well, and what I said, well, I saw some of those reports, but I also saw some reports that said he didn't live with his parents. Well, you can see right here. Reuters says today, police collected additional evidence on Friday evening from Robinson's apartment in St. George, about 5 miles from his parents' home. Yellow crime scene tape was taken down after FBI and state forensic investigators finished their work, but officers remained outside the apartment on Saturday. Neighbors put up a private property no trespassing sign at the entrance to the complex, which was swarmed by reporters. I think it was Fox, we were reading it before, who said that law enforcement had taken computers from his apartment. The charges are expected to be formally filed in court early next week. Whose apartment was that? One of our viewers said, whose apartment is it? Like, who owns it? I don't know if it's rented. That I don't know. Maybe if they just rent it. That I do not know. Candace O said at the presser, didn't the governor say he lived with his parents? That might have been said at some point. I can't remember. But there's plenty of reporting now that he had an apartment. Also, maybe the governor didn't have the correct information. That I'm not sure. I mean, it's probably, look, honestly, it's probably a very scary time for the roommate right now. I mean, first of all, let me just say this. For Tyler Robinson's family and people close to him, I'm going to assume they didn't know this was going to happen. The press conference, the authorities' press conference said that they have no evidence that anybody else was involved in planning this. They're not planning on arresting anyone. So now they have this situation where this relative or friend, or if the reports are correct, the roommate who was in a romantic relationship with him, now this has happened. So, but if you're the roommate, now you have reporting coming out today, some of it giving your name, saying that you were in a relationship with this person. And even though the reports say that the roommate's been very cooperative with authorities, that authorities do not say that the roommate knew about this or anything, if you're the roommate, you might think, well, people aren't going to read the story. They're going to assume I was involved, and they're going to come attack me, you know? So in addition to the trauma of having the person, if these reports are true, you live with and are in a relationship with, now in jail for murdering Charlie Kirk, you're going to be concerned about, I would assume, about your own safety as well. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna like hear the roommate just start going out in public and giving press conferences anytime soon. I think the New York Post said that in their article that the apartment appeared empty today. Let's see, was it the Post who said that, or was it Fox? Hang on. Maybe it was the Fox article. Now I can't find it. I know I read it somewhere. Was it the Axios article? I thought it was the New York Post article. Yes, the New York Post said today that today, Saturday, no one was at the $1,800 per month townhouse that Robinson was believed to have shared with his roommate who he was in a relationship with. So the New York Post said, it sounds like they had somebody there, and they said they did not see anyone there today. Again, Axios reports that when the roommate found out what had happened, seems like from authorities, when the roommate talked to authorities initially, according to Axios, the roommate was aghast hearing what happened and said, "That's what happened, oh my God, no." And then said, "Here are all the messages." Look, again, I know people have asked about it, and I understand the questions. I don't know when the roommate got messages. If the roommate heard that there was the shooting, which is reasonable to think the roommate heard there was shooting, and then the roommate got a message from Tyler saying, hide the gun, or I hid the gun, pick up the gun. If you're the roommate, you still wouldn't necessarily assume that he's the one who shot Charlie Kirk. If this was your roommate and somebody you were in a relationship with, and you didn't know them to be the kind of person who would do this kind of thing, you might not assume right away, I guess the person I'm living with and dating just shot Charlie Kirk. So, but I do understand people's question of like, did the roommate have an idea that it could have been Tyler Robinson? Did the roommate keep it quiet or say anything to authorities? I get all that. So we just don't have a timeline yet from the authorities about that. I read one article today, some editorial somewhere, where I forget who wrote it, but the premise was like that in these situations, often the family won't turn the person in. And the premise of this editorial was that, like, great job by the father making this really difficult decision to help to encourage your son to turn in. So it's certainly, everything we're hearing is that the father played a key role in getting the son into custody, which I'm sure was not easy for the father, I would assume. So I think it's a fair point. "100% said dad wouldn't want to harbor a fugitive." Yeah, but I'm sure there's difficulty in turning in your own child. No, actually, the Red Queen says the dad was police. So initially it was reported that the dad was a police officer, but I believe that got corrected, right? Isn't the dad working construction? Tyler Robinson's father? I thought I read that today. There was a police department that came out and said, "Oh, this person is not in our department," like some people have said. Where did I read that? Now I have to find that. I can't find it. Now, Charlotte Webb says he used to be in law enforcement, not now. Evelyn in Maine says granite countertop business. So I'm looking right here, for example. Hang on. Hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on. Just hang on a second here. Yes, the LA Times said his father worked with granite countertops and his mother was a licensed social worker. And they were both registered Republicans. Now, I don't know if the father had a past in law enforcement, but I've read several articles today saying that he had that kind of a, it's the countertop business. Oh, no. See, one of our viewers said Washington County Sheriff Department. I think that's not true. Because they put out a statement about it. I'll show it to you. Here's the statement right here. Washington County Sheriff's Office, Utah. Yesterday, information has been circulated indicating that a retired deputy of the Washington County Sheriff's Office, Matt Robinson, is related to the suspect Tyler Robinson involved in the ongoing investigation concerning the Charlie Kirk homicide. However, retired Deputy Matt Robinson is not connected or related to the individual apprehended last night. There are several people with the same name, and this misinformation was generated from an unknown source. So I don't know if the father had any law enforcement background. I mean, but there were multiple news outlets reporting that he was an officer, I think, with this sheriff's office yesterday. But it turns out at least that sheriff's office knew. Who knows? We could hear. There might be in the coming days a bunch more that comes out about this incident that we haven't heard about. That's important or surprising. We have no idea. I mean, we've had these stories coming out today that certainly seem important. I want to take some more comments here. Hold on a second. Matt Talmer mentioned that conservative media personality Benny Johnson said he spoke to an FBI official who said the FBI has not ruled out co-conspirators. I never said they ruled them out. What I have said again and again is that officials have said, and they said it in the press conference, they had no evidence that someone else, that would lead to somebody else being arrested for this. That doesn't say they've ruled it out. They're still investigating. But they literally said in the press conference, the governor said it, that at this point, they don't have evidence that would lead to anybody else getting arrested. But maybe they would uncover stuff. I don't know. But they have said it again and again. They believe that one person was involved. Now, let me say this. Suppose after the fact, suppose after the incident, he told some people about it, and those people then lied to the police about what they'd been told. Well, then maybe they could be arrested for lying to the police, but that doesn't mean that they helped plan the thing. I'm not saying anybody will be arrested for that, but you see what I'm saying. Oh, do you know, I thought the X stream was on and it didn't actually come. I'll start it now. For some reason, the X stream did not come on. Gulf War Vet, thanks for your service. Mentioned it. I don't know why it didn't come on. Once in a while, I start the streams and I assume they're all started, and one actually doesn't start. So for the people who might tune in on X, you can rewind the stream and check it out. That was not intentional. Callie Voltaire wrote into me and said she believes from what she saw online that hearings in Utah will be streamed. So we may have streams of all. There may be streams available of his appearances in court, just like there were streams available of the Brian Kohberger appearances. Yeah, I mean, James thinks it'll be a 10-minute hearing. We covered one of the Kohberger, no, not Kohberger. We have covered hearings before, maybe one of the Kohberger ones actually, but I've covered hearings before that are initial hearings that are just short, where you see the person for like 3 minutes or something. So I don't know that it'll be a particularly long hearing on Tuesday, but I don't know for sure. Thanks, Mike Wise. Mike also sent in the press release that I had mentioned to you about the Washington County Sheriff's Office. Our viewer Rob mentioned the relative that tuned him in. Yeah, so the reporting suggests that the relative that turned him in was the father, not the roommate. Because apparently from the reporting I've seen, it's that the father recognized him. Where is it here? For example, I get confused now about like what did they say in the press conference and what did they say, what else has been said and what's just been reported, and what did President Trump say? I forget what we heard where. You can see here from the AP story, this AP story, that Governor Cox told reporters that A family member reached out to a family friend with information that Robinson had confessed or implied involvement in the shooting. But it's been reported that that was the father. There's some reporting that says what happened is that he confessed, his father, either he confessed or he confessed or implied to his father he did it, and then some reports say that he said to his father he was going to kill himself before turning himself, he didn't want to turn himself in, and then the father brought a minister in, a youth minister, to talk to him and get him to agree to turn himself in. But I don't think that's been confirmed by authorities. AP says Robinson's father recognized him from the photos, setting off a chain of events. Oh, didn't Kash Patel post about that today? Yeah, Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, today posted that. Here, I'll show you. This is what he posted. He said, against all law enforcement recommendations, we demanded the video footage and enhanced stills of the suspect be released to the public. Robinson's father, who ultimately turned him into authorities, told law enforcement he recognizes his son in that released video. Now, I'm not sure here who all the law enforcement is who is recommending against it and who the we is that demanded the video and stills be released to the public. I have seen some people online say that they think he's throwing the state law enforcement under the bus. Because he's saying that some law enforcement didn't want it released, but we did. I don't know what really happened, so I can't speak to this. If he's saying we, the FBI, I don't know that the Utah didn't want it to be released. I'm guessing if there's another press conference, this might get asked about. TJ says the state said that. TJ, I remember in the earlier presser, I think the FBI person saying something like, well, we'll release it if we need it released or something. I don't know that it was just the state, because in the morning presser, both the FBI and the state spoke. I'd have to go back and watch. But anyways, I also don't know what people were saying behind the scenes. Well, I'm interested. I'm interested in seeing if I'm interested in seeing if there's going to be another press conference tomorrow, because you're just going to start hearing more and more reports about stuff. And if there's no new press conference or no new authorities announcement about stuff, people are going to start, they're going to draw their own conclusions, or they're going to hear a report and then they're going to like misinterpret the report and take some of that report and add their own stuff to it, and and then there'll be all this speculation. So you're just going to hear more and more reports. Hold on, what is this? But again, the reports I have heard today, 3 of them from Axios, Fox News, and New York Post, all reporting that Tyler Robinson was in a relationship with his roommate and that his roommate was transgender. And also, in all those reports, none of those reports say that the roommate was involved in the planning of the shooting or knew about it. All of the reports say that the roommate's been extremely cooperative with authorities. Also, the New York Times reported tonight that on Thursday, the day after the shooting, Tyler Robinson was in a group chat on Discord with people he did this regular group chat with, or a group chat that had been existing for a while. It wasn't a new group chat. It was a group chat that they periodically did. And when somebody from the chat suggested, I think maybe jokingly, that he looked like the shooter photo, he started joking about it. And the chat started joking that he was the shooter, and he started joking along with them, saying things like that his doppelganger was trying to get him in trouble, and also saying things like that he'd better get rid of this manifesto and exact copy rifle I have lying around. So that was the day, again, so the day after the shooting, the report says, and they have details of the messages from the Discord chat, he was talking to this Discord group chat and joking about them, joking about the idea of him being the shooter, as if he weren't involved at all. I'll again post the link to that article that you can read. So that is certainly interesting. Oh, also they pointed out something else interesting about that article. Yes, this is very interesting too. The New York Times article said that that he talked in the group chat about the reporting that was coming out about the engravings. This was before the law enforcement had their press conference where they said this is what's written on the ammunition. So what the New York Times says is it's clear that he was following the news about this, because he actually posted in the group chat like, according to the Times, he posted in the group chat, I heard the ammo had something about trans stuff on it, but they aren't releasing photos or exact quotes. So he was following the news about this, if assuming those are legit quotes from his Discord. And the article does seem well sourced. Yes, he was posting in this group chat the day after the shooting. There's a whole New York Times article about it. I'll post it as well. But I mean, was he just sitting there watching TV coverage of the thing on? As I said before, some people, and I understand why they thought he would just be trying to get out of the country. But he might have just been sitting there watching TV. Now, I don't know where he was when he was in this group chat, if it's true that he was in the group chat, which again I think is well sourced. But maybe he was just at home hanging out or in his car or whatever. I'm not sure. One of the viewers said his Venmo has been discovered. I haven't heard that. John says cooperative with authorities doesn't mean the roommate didn't break the law. Look, all I can say, John, is thank you, John, by the way. All I can say is there has been no reporting suggesting that the roommate broke the law, or that the roommate is going to be arrested, or that the roommate's in legal jeopardy, or that the roommate has been anything but really cooperative. Now, I don't know what will ultimately happen. All I can say is that's what the reporting has been so far. That's the best I can tell you. Thanks to Joe South Oz, by the way. Thanks, Yinzer. Thank you, Yinzer. Martin Gingrich. Martin says, wasn't the minister the marshal? That I'm not sure about it. Again, I've read a report. I forget all the different reports I've read, but I certainly read a report that there was reporting saying that the father recognized him. The father confronted him. He told his father that he was going to kill himself rather than turn himself in, and then the father brought in a minister. I can't remember if I read reporting that the minister was a marshal. And again, that was not coming from the authorities. That's reporting that news outlets have made. So maybe we'll get, I'm guessing eventually, what the governor said is there will be court documents that come out, he said that there will be, I don't know if he said court documents. There will be more information coming out this week, I guess, when the court proceedings take place. I assume maybe some court documents will be released, maybe with more information. I agree, Martin, it would be interesting to know how the whole him turning himself in came about, but we don't have a detailed timeline from authorities on that. Thanks also to Zofu. Zofu says, I feel horrible for the father. I can't imagine. Thank you also. Not applicable. And Shabbat Shalom and Richard Canuck. Richard says, did he ultimately confess? So it's a good question. He turned himself in. We do know he turned himself in. But I don't believe we've heard that he's been talking to authorities. This is one of these things, again, where I can't remember. In the press conference, did they say he wasn't talking, or did they just say nothing about it? Can't remember. You know, you have these press conferences and all these articles, and you can't remember what was said when. I thought maybe in one of the press conferences they said he wasn't talking, but I mean, again, there's been nothing today, so who knows what's happening today. By the way, thanks to Charlie Thompson, Camus. Charlie mentions some article that talks about Israel. I have not heard. If you're implying that Israel was somehow involved with this, all I can tell you is again and again, every time that we've heard from the officials on this, they have said they think one person did this and they don't think anybody else was involved. So that's all I can tell you. Will they change at some point? I don't know. But that they've been consistent in saying that. Thank you, FloJo TV, Camus, Billy Joe Drage, Analyze Records, Fred Flintstone for the memberships, Patriot Sicilian for the memberships. Thank you, Marilyn Gardner, Jellyman. And Larry Picklejar, CC, Tech Slug, Caden's Gaming Lounge too, and Morrigan Wolf. All right, we'll take a few more comments on this. So, I am hoping oh, what is this from The Sun, by the way? Some people sent me this thing. What is this? Okay, so The Sun, which is the U.S. version of The Sun, which it's not a source I turn to that often. They are claiming that they have a story that said that they talked to a neighbor. This is what they're saying. They're saying they talked to a neighbor of Tyler Robinson who said this. I'm just telling you what The Sun said. The Sun said there that the neighbor, who is 18, said Tyler Robinson was in a relationship with his roommate. And he said he saw them holding hands and they looked like they were a couple. Among other things. You can go to the Sun US and see this. And also, what is it here? I don't have the rights to the video, but maybe I can listen to it for a second. If you give me 2 seconds, I can listen to the video. Some of the viewers had mentioned this. Clip. Hold on a second. I'm just going to listen to it so I can hear it. If you give me a second. One sec. Hold on. It's like a lot. All right. The clip is 3 minutes long. I'm not going to listen to the clip. But on the Sun website, it says that the neighbor said he saw, literally on the Sun website, it says Tyler Robinson was spotted kissing transgender partner just 2 weeks before assassination. If you go to the Sun US, you can read this. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that's true, given, as I've said, that 3 outlets, including Axios, the New York Post, and Fox News, are all independently reporting that Tyler Robinson was in a relationship with his roommate, who is transgender. So I'm not surprised if they were spotted kissing, if they were in a relationship. But again, you can go to the Sun and see they posted a clip that they said is with their neighbor, the neighbor of the Tyler Robinson, who is 18 years old, the neighbor. I think maybe when they posted this, it was like before these other outlets or some of these other outlets had. Again, it's not as surprising story given the other outlets have reported that they were dating. But I think maybe when they posted it, not all the other outlets had reported that yet. I can't verify it. If you go to the Sun US. It's right on the front page of the Sun US. It's literally the top thing on the page, if you want to look at it. Now, again, I can't verify it, but either this person is legit or they have a false person as the neighbor who they interviewed. As I said, I haven't been talking about this stuff because I have some interest in everything that Tyler Robinson did in his private life. The reason it's relevant is because maybe it sheds a light on motive. As Axios says in their headline today, their headline says, may be key to motive. Thank you to the people who sent me the video, though, of the Sun video. So thanks for sending it to me. FBI Black SUV says, I have a bad feeling they were trying to dox his partner. His partner has already been identified in some of the stories today. I mean, if that identity is correct. I'm not saying the name on the air, but some of the articles today identify the person and show his picture. Pristinish says the roommate apparently is working with the FBI, cooperating, according to the New York Post. Yes, according to the Axios and Fox News as well. I'm just seeing if there have been any updates since then. Yeah. Yeah, Callie Voltaire sent me the New York Post article. I have the article. As I said, it has pictures of who they say the roommate is. I even saw earlier today, I went online and because one of the articles had mentioned, either it mentioned it, I looked at the social media. I think one of the articles had social media of the roommate, what they said, social media of the roommate. So I went to check it, and then I went to check family. I think the article might have mentioned a family member of the social media. Anyways, my point is, I saw a Facebook profile that I believe is of a family member, at least one and maybe more, of the family member or members of the roommate, who some people had already started going on those profiles and posting nasty comments on their profiles. So, for all I know, they're going to take down their profiles, but I would encourage people to not go on these people's profiles and post nasty comments. Okay, well, look, we came on the, I'm going to do a quick check just to see, because I want to make sure. It's weird, things have just been kind of coming out today, like some news outlet will just post something. So I want to do a quick check to make sure I'm not missing anything that came out that in the last few hours that I haven't seen. Not that I've seen every single thing in the world. The headline on the Fox News website right now, this is literally their headline. At the top of the Fox News website is, Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin lived with trans partner who is now cooperating with FBI. They say he's being extremely cooperative. An FBI official told Fox the person had no idea that Robinson was allegedly planning to kill Charlie Kirk. It is interesting. So Fox News had reported that the FBI has taken computers and other evidence from the apartment that Robinson lived in with his roommate. So who knows what evidence? Maybe the suspect, Tyler Robinson, wrote stuff about this that we have not heard about. For example, on his computer. Our viewer Ryan1 says, gonna deep dive the web communications. Gulf War Vet thinks social media has been a negative effect on society. I'll also be interested in seeing, now that several outlets, and not just right-wing outlets, have come out with this story about saying that Tyler Robinson was in a romantic relationship with his transgender roommate, will other outlets be reporting on the roommate tomorrow too? Oh, by the way, also, the Daily Mail also has posted what they say is a photo of the roommate. I'm not showing or saying the name on the air, but that's another outlet that's doing it. But they quote other media outlets. Sometimes they interview people. They say that they reported earlier on Saturday that Robinson was living with, and they give a name and photo of the roommate. Oh, let me say this. Daily Mail says they talked to the grandfather of the roommate. You can go to Daily Mail and read the whole article. I will say this about Daily Mail. They do this thing sometimes where if there's a big story, they will try to just find relatives to interview and they'll interview them. They do that. And I don't think they're making it up that they're interviewing these people. So they got a hold of who they said was the grandfather. And the grandfather told them that he couldn't comment on whether his grandson was trans and about a possible related motive to the murder. He said, I don't want to comment on that. I'm not sure what his situation is exactly right now. But anyways, again, that's another outlet that's posted about it. You know, Miss T, I was just wondering about this. Our viewer, Miss T, said the trial would have to have the roommate testify. I don't know if there's going to be a trial. I would think if there's a trial, the roommate might be called to testify. Shrocky says, if they're confirmed not involved, why is any media releasing their name or picture? Kind of messed up. I understand what you're saying, Shrocky. No Heart thinks the text message was damning unless he was setting up the roommate. You're talking about when he told the roommate to pick up the gun. I was just doing kind of a last check here to make sure there was not any new stuff coming out. But we'll have to see. Oh, let's see. Yeah, as I mentioned, Tyler Robinson did not vote in the last 2 elections. Oh, but he wasn't old enough to vote in 2020. So last presidential election and also, I guess, 2022 and 2024, he did not vote in. That's what it sounds like. Also, CBS News said he had no prior violent offenses, no prior felony or misdemeanor convictions. And CBS News also said that Robinson's father recognized his son from the photos. Robinson admitted to his father that he did it. He told his father he'd rather kill himself than turn himself in. Then the father called a youth pastor. And the youth pastor, who also serves as a court security officer, called the U.S. Marshal Service and other law enforcement. That's what CBS News said. Oh, and CBS News says, then marshals detained him and kept him secure while waiting for the FBI. I don't think I'd read this before. So CBS News says, the father recognizes the son from the photos. The son admits to the dad he did it. He says to the dad, basically, I'd rather kill myself than turn myself in. The dad contacts a youth minister who also is a court security officer. The youth minister, I guess, talks to him. I guess, yes. And then then U.S. Marshals come and keep him secure while waiting for the FBI. But I thought, President Trump had said they drove to turn himself in. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? President Trump could have gotten bad information too. So anyways, but this is the first I've seen this report that U.S. Marshals detained him while waiting for the FBI, and then the FBI took him into custody. What can I say? That's not official. That's just coming. It's coming from CBS News. Carrie Collins says, that's the report I heard. David Rutner says, why don't they confirm his prints off that roof? So, David, that's a perfectly fair thing to ask about. Maybe they will, because they say they have fingerprints from the roof. They have imprints. I mean, from the video, you can see that he puts his hands on the roof. Where is the... the video here. It's right here. I'm going to show you the video via Utah DPS. Hang on, right here. Hang on. This is actually a the one that the state posted is better resolution than the one that the I think it was shown that the Department of Justice, was it posted, or the FBI? Hold on, I'm pulling this up for you right now. I know a bunch of you have seen this, so we don't have to watch it a million times, but here. But yeah, I mean, maybe they will just, if they can match the fingerprint on the roof to the person, that's pretty compelling. Here it is right here. I might have to get myself, oh no, I don't have to get myself out of the way. Here we go, look. So the viewer was talking about when he puts his hands on it right there, right there. I've seen a close-up shot from the roof, a close-up photo, which shows this, the fingerprints or the hand imprints. Snyder thinks he was clearly a lone gunman. Wild how people think all this nonsense. Mike Boydus says people love nonsense. Bluesy Girl says they won't have a problem matching the prints. Oh, and for people who were wondering, I don't know if that point, if he has the gun in a towel or if he had the gun in his bag or what. Ronan says they may have DNA for that. Where's the part where he's jumping off? Right here. Yeah, see, I mean, he puts the thing down on the roof, then he jumps off with it. So I don't know if the gun's in there, if the gun's too long to be in there and whatever. Well, the gun couldn't be on the roof because he put it somewhere. He put it in a wooded area. Hey, by the way, thanks to Dan and Maggie and Daniel Zapata and first name, last name. And Allie B from Tennessee. Allie B thinks the state will not give him the option of a lower sentence. He will get the death penalty. That's what Allie thinks. Thank you. I am Charlie in Razor Sharp. Oh, by the way, I never say this word out loud. One of our viewers said I pronounced the word wrong. I don't know. Let's see here. According to Wikipedia, they say it's doppelganger or doppelganger. That's bad. Ganger? I said ganger, so ganger seems not right. Ganger or ganger. Ganger or Ganger. It doesn't say Ganger, so I did not pronounce it right. So I apologize. I apologize to all the people I offended. Okay. Anyways, guys, I think we're getting close to that time, I got to say. So I wanted to come on and give you an update on the latest, but I don't have anything more right now. Some people seemed upset by my pronunciation. So look, we're going to keep covering this, and I'm very interested to see if we get some kind of, are we going to get an official update from the authorities, or are we going to get no official update and just have more and more of these news outlets reporting more stuff? I don't know. So, but I did want to bring you the latest updates here. And I have posted basically links to the stuff we talked about, or most of what we talked about. I have posted it on my X account. So you can go to my X account and see the stories, or at least most of them. Or I told you where you can find them. So feel free to go and read them all yourselves and get more details. But yeah, I mean, there's more reporting being done, more information being reported, and wanted to bring you up to date on at least what's being reported. Okay. So, but I do very much appreciate people tuning in, and I will post updates on my X account, which is @Lookner. When we're not on the air, and I do when we're on the air too. But I'll post updates there, and if there's huge news, we can come on the air. As I mentioned, we very well may cover, if I can get video of it. I'm hoping to be able to get video of the memorial service. I have a feeling that President Trump might go. So I think it's going to be, I think the memorial service is going to be like a big event. I mean, it's at a football stadium, and a lot of people are going to go, but we may do coverage of that. That's a week from Sunday. That's the 21st. But I do appreciate people joining, and thanks for letting me read your comments. Thank you for sending me updates and letting me know what you're hearing. Rock said Trump said he is going. I did not. Maybe Trump said it today. I did not. I would not be surprised if he did. But I did not myself hear him say today, after the official announcement came out, that he said he was going. But I would not at all be surprised. It was announced today. Alexander said the stadium fits 60,000 people. The capacity of State Farm Stadium is about 63,000. I appreciate people also chatting. I know people have different views about various topics related to this, but I like that people can chat and do it civilly. That's a big thanks to our moderators that can happen, by the way. I'm going to thank our moderators in a second, but that's thanks to our moderators that we can do that. We can have chat rooms. I do want to say, though, real quick, if you like the coverage, feel free to subscribe, follow Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news without an agenda. And also, make sure you turn on the notifications. I don't know when big news is going to happen. Something big could happen in an hour, or another story. And I can't tell you in advance when we're coming on the air. But if you sign up to the notifications, you will get sent a notification whenever we go live. And it's free. So sign up for those. We do it through Discord. And the link, the mods will post the notifications link in the chat. You can also find the link to the free notifications in the description of this video on YouTube and Facebook. Make sure you sign up to those. And thanks to everybody for writing in. Sorry I can't read all the comments, but we got a decent amount of comments read tonight, which is good. I'm glad we had some time to do that. And some interesting questions as well, so thanks for writing in. Hey, let's shout out our moderators. They are awesome. And they are the ones who allow us to have these chat rooms and to be able to have a discussion. I thought people were good tonight. I actually liked, given the topic. I'll give you guys, I'll give the chatters props for I thought people generally were respectful tonight. Because I know it can get kind of crazy with these topics. So I thought people did a good job of generally being respectful. Roberts May Queen, thanks for moderating. Thank you to all of our moderators, too, for enforcing it. Enforcing the civility, which we need. Roberts May Queen and all of our moderators over there on YouTube, thank you. LB Prairie on Idaho Star, Matthew Kohai 3, and Sarah on Twitch. Huge thanks for moderating to them and all of our Twitch mods. Margaret Riley, Charlotte Webb, Shannon Davis Hughes. Thanks to our Facebook moderators, our Twitch, our X moderators, and all of our other Facebook moderators, our X moderators, Linda Belk, Larry, Misha. By the way, if anybody's watching on X, I messed up tonight. I thought I had started the X stream, and I didn't start it. So X started like halfway through or something, if not later. I really apologize. It's just my fault. But I thought I started it, and it didn't work. So I had to restart it. So if you missed it on X, you can go back and maybe go to one of the other platforms and watch the full thing if you want. Oh, thanks to Madeline Hanley. Thank you, Madeline. I very much appreciate that. Yeah, thanks for your support of the channel, everyone. That's what allows this channel to exist, and I really, really appreciate it. It's very kind of you. Anthony Ciaccio, thanks for being a member. Thanks also to Rusty911 for subscribing on Twitch. CC on Twitch, thank you. Sharon Klassen Goslin and Chuck Mosca, thanks for subscribing on Facebook too. Oh, and also Paul Anderson was modding too. Thanks, Paul. Another way to find out when we're going live is you can follow us on X. I always post there when we're going live at Agenda Free TV. I post updates about the channel. So follow us there on X at Agenda Free TV if you're on X. And I do want to mention we do have a chat that a number of our viewers like to do. It's free. It's on Discord where you can chat with other viewers when we're not on the air about news events. So check out the Discord chat. The link is the same as the free notifications link. But check out the chat if you want. And thanks so much to our Discord mods for all you do as well. Okay. Also, what was I going to mention? Oh, for those who watch on YouTube, I would suggest turn on the YouTube notifications. Another good way to find out when we're live. To do that, it's a little tricky. What you need to do is you need to subscribe to the channel. Then you got to click this bell and then choose all notifications. If you're already subscribed on YouTube, make sure you have the bell checked and the bell clicked and all checked. Hey, thanks also to all of our Facebook subscribers like Chuck Mosca, Sharon Klassen Goslin, Kay Lowry Body, Margaret Riley, Lou Knight, Diane Allworth, Robert Real II, Shannon Davis Hughes, and all of our other Facebook subscribers. Thanks for subscribing over there and supporting the channel. Our Twitch subscribers, thanks to all of you. Billy Joe, and Matthew Kohai 3 and Sarah, Sydney, a.k.a. Coco, Tatermong, Shrocky, Quieter, thank you, My Crystal Clear Life, And everybody else who subscribes on Twitch, thank you. And our YouTube moderators, not YouTube, I thank YouTube moderators, our YouTube members, thanks to all of you, people like Some Italian Guy, Evelyn in Maine, Hugh Crummond, UV Lightning, TJ Adams, Chaz Martin, CAC 813, Ava Gedden, Callie Voltaire, Jen Exer, Bolso Santosi, Gary Baines, Red Girl, Val Cargo, Bluesy Girl. Did I say Barry? Josie, Low-Key Valkyrie, Jen Exer, Leslie Ladyhawk, Mason D, I Need Some Skooma, and all of our other YouTube members. Thank you. Thank you also. RHJ for watching. Julie Finch, thank you for watching. Songbird, Albino Machino, Tina Lewis 73, thanks for watching. Canadian till the end. Dave Galloway, thanks for watching. Melissa Terry, Bobby Freeman, Billy Anderson, Robert Law, Dale Kaysen, Evelyn Drinkwater. Okay, so that is it for now. If you missed it, you can rewind the stream. We have been bringing you up to date on the latest reporting about the investigation into the Charlie Kirk shooting. That is it for now. If there's more big news, we will come on and do more reporting. And we will see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.